I've discovered a little fruit on this mini bell tomato. That's exciting. And over here, more fruits. Can you see? Look at all of these. Aren't they adorable? And then on right here also. Oh, and there's one. Itty bitty little tomato. I've noticed on some of the larger tomato plants on the trellis over here. These are the sun golds. They have fruit also right here. Look at that. The first tomatoes. And I remember from last summer, the sun golds had really long trusses. Look at how long that truss is. So that's really exciting. Anyway, I just saw those and wanted to share my excitement. And also these purple potted pole beans are flowering. Look at how beautiful that is. And I do believe this morning I even saw the first itty bitty baby green bean. It's green, it's not purple. They're supposed to be purple. Maybe it'll change colors. We shall see. Anyway, super exciting. I'm loving the garden. Just look at how much growth there is on this trellis and how colorful the flowers are. They're gorgeous. I've been training them to wind all the way around up on the top instead of going all the way over just yet, because there's still a lot of growth to happen. So I wanted to make sure that we get full coverage on the top of this trellis. Anyways, just wanted to give you a little peek of what was happening. So I'm just outside surveying the garden, and I've noticed so many more sprouts here of the asparagus bed. Look at those little sprouts just coming up everywhere. This is not the full garden tour, but I just wanted to show the progress. Looks like the carrots are sprouting. I'm keeping them moist and covered with this box so that they germinate. And it's working. Last year it did not work, so I'm happy about that. I'm also gonna succession plant some more carrots here, and then in another week or two, some right there, so that we have carrots all along. Anyway, I still don't see any ginger sprouting, but pretty sure that I planted it just a few weeks ago, and you're supposed to plant it in the fall, I believe, right? No, in the winter, sometime like December, January, February, and I planted in the spring, so Hopefully some of it starts to sprout. I accidentally dug one of them up by mistake when I planted that tomatillo there. And I just moved it over a little bit. But it looked like it was getting some, the nodes were becoming more pronounced. So fingers crossed that they start to poke up out the ground. Otherwise that space is just bare for no reason. Anyway, just look at this lush garden. I love how my squashes are turning out. They're turning out great. Time to get Jethro and bring him over here because I need to make some more dirt so that I can fill the next couple tiers of the Green Stalk and get those planted. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to be working on, but I think before it gets super sweaty, I'm going to leave Jethro right here, and I need to go run a couple errands, so I'm going to go do that, and I'll come back and work in the garden this evening when it's cooled off a little. I don't know if you can see, but all the girls are resting under the bushes over there. They'll get up if I walk over there. Hi, ladies. It's only getting warmer, so they're going to be getting lazier as the days go by this summer. So these purple magnolia tendril snap peas are producing snacks, really, because they don't make it into the house. Just a few are ready every day, and the next few will be that one for sure, and a few more from up here, and there's a green one, a couple green ones, one there and one there. Anyway, yeah, they're not really producing a whole lot because it's getting hot. There's another green one, and soon they're going to be petering out, which is fine because I have those tomatillos planted down there, which will grow up the trellis for support. But anyway, they're really tasty, and I guess what I really need to do is plant the entire packet sooner so that I get more production out of them, instead of just a few snacks here and there. Although I did plant many more that just were eaten as seedlings by the roly-polies. Anyway, the peppers are starting to bush out. I pruned them, so they'll start taking off eventually. This little plant here is a mini bell, I believe, mini bell tomato, and I just need to move it because it doesn't get enough sun. And I was thinking that I would put the mini bell, because I have one more mini bell that I need to plant somewhere. And I was thinking that I would put the mini bells in those pots and replant what is in there currently in the garden instead, because those are just becoming way larger than I expected them to be. Well, that one is anyway. This one is, it might suffer if I transplant it now, because it took a minute to come back from the transplant this time. Anyway, let's just see a little wasp playing around over here, stretching his legs. Anyway, this is a cutting. It was it's off of the Dr. Witchy tomato, and it was one of the suckers that I pulled off, and it was quite large, so I decided to take a risk, and I shoved it in this pot of dirt that was just sitting there. It was empty. I had nothing grew, whatever I had in there. Oh, it was some valerian root. It never sprouted, so I went ahead and just shoved this tomato in there, and it suffered for a few days, and look at it now. It's doing great. So I have every confidence that it is rooting down in that dirt, and I'll be able to plant that probably in a month or so. I'll probably plant it somewhere, maybe in that last garden bed over there, after all of those seeds have been harvested. Anyway, I guess this is turning into the garden tour. I still have much to do. I have all of these. Now, these marigolds here have really taken off as compared to, say, that one and that one. Those two are quite large, and none of the others have really done that. Looks like I've got some dill sprouting right there. And one little rosemary plant decided to sprout. So 1 out of 8. That's a terrible ratio, considering I sprinkled multiple seeds, rosemary seeds, in each one of these cells. Only one of them decided it wanted to grow. Anyway, poppies. I've got some poppies growing here. That's what those are. Those little flowers that I have planted in the pot over there with the fig tree, those are poppies. I couldn't remember the name of it on the last garden tour. Anyway, 4 of these cells, the beans did not grow, but we got 2, so I need to go plant them. This one was eaten by the bugs, but it looks like there's some growth right here. Looks like some growth, so I'm gonna leave it. It'll start to produce very slowly, but nonetheless, I'll let it live. I'm just really, really pleased with the way this pot is turning out. It's just beautiful. It's really beautiful. And look at those flowers. They're so vibrant. And I seriously need to do something with this creeping Jenny. I have some pots that I need to plant. A couple over there. Those 2. As well as 2 in barrels, like whiskey barrels. They're plastic though. They just look like whiskey barrels that I bought last week at Aldi. And I Need to plant those out as well. As well as all of these things need to be planted and watered. Poor things. That's what I have this can sitting here for, to water these little plants until I get something done about it. And these are the what are they? Sweet potato vines that my sister sent. So gotta get those bad boys watered also. That bag of potatoes, they were kind of mushy, so I'm not surprised that it is really doing nothing. I'm just sitting here wasting this water on soggy potatoes. Anyway, what is this? Week number 7 garden tour. Yeah, week 7 is a lot like week 6. Not a whole lot to say other than, you know, there's growth happening everywhere, yet this is a really shady area, so these marigolds probably need to be transplanted. And I think what I'm going to do is put some basil in this bed and maybe some lettuces, or what else do I have started over there? I have some Swiss chard started, and in the house I have some spinach. So this will be my little greens bed under these, under these tomatoes. Yeah, so still no fruit set yet, just flowers, but soon we'll have some fruit set, and then we'll be off and rolling. Everything will be in full production soon. Anyway, I still have my succulent bowl to put together as well, and I just bought this from the Gardener's Supply website. Look at that. I thought it was really cool, so I think what I'll do is take these deep root trainers and transplant these very leggy Swiss chard seedlings in here and get them to get a good root ball going before I put them in the bed, because I don't want to lose them in this soil over here, which is compost. Of course it's compost, but it's very mulchy as well. So I think that's why the flowers that I planted, including these marigolds here, and all of the flowers along this bed that I planted like 6 weeks ago, that's why they're not really growing. They've sprouted, but they're not growing. So whatever that is, I'm gonna let it grow, but I think it's a weed. It's not, definitely not a plant. See, these sprouted like 5-6 weeks ago. All of these little tiny seedlings here, they've been here for like 5 or 6 weeks, and they're not growing. So anyway, that's why I decided to plant these beans and these squash plants over here, because the flowers aren't growing. Something might as well grow there. I keep watching this, and I know it's too soon, but I'm watching the dirt here because I had some little seeds from a dried flower off of one of those succulent plants over there that I need to plant, by the way. But I digress. Anyway, I took the seeds and I sprinkled them right here. Thought it would be cool to have them grow there. So I'm just watching. I know it's too soon because that happened last week, on week 6. So in 1 week I didn't expect to see any germination, but we shall see. I don't have any experience planting or germinating succulents, so we'll see if that experiment works. Week 7, we've got the cucumbers finally grabbing hold of the trellis with its tendrils. I did have to cheat and help it along because it didn't know where to grab hold of. But so we have that one growing, and then we also have this one. That one over there was the China jade cucumber, which is a lot like an English cucumber. And this one here, this plant here, is the Boston pickling, which starts down there and has made its way all the way up to here so far. So that's pretty cool. And I had to stake this lemon squash because it was drooping over, which is fine. It could droop, but I wanted it to stand up and not catch hold of the trellis because that's where the cucumber needs to live. These nasturtiums are really beautiful. They look like stars, don't they? They look like stars that are glistening in the night sky, only they're glistening in the day here in my beautiful garden. And they are trailing right up into that bush there. I had to pull it out and weave it through the trellis, so it'll share the trellis with these 2 cucumbers, which are also taking off. Week 7. That one's a little smaller than this one, but they're both doing well, and they're both China jade cucumbers, so hopefully we get some fruit soon. Just look at those. They're daytime stars. Yeah, anyway, this is the garden. Still waiting on these seeds to dry up a little bit so that I can pull them out, but they're being very testy. They don't want to dry up. It's a humid climate, I guess, that's why. But just look at all of these. We really don't need this many seeds. But Mom was like, no, leave it there. She's gonna be the one to pull them out of these pods, not me. She wanted them, so that's her job. But anyway, they're still very green and fresh, not brown and dried, so we still have quite some time before this garden bed can be planted, except for this little spot here. I can throw some fresh dirt and amend this section and maybe plant a tomato there. I still do have quite a few tomatoes and peppers that need to be planted. And I had an idea that, here in the South it's so humid, we lose our squash plants pretty early in the season to powdery mildew and the squash bugs and all of that. So I don't expect these to stay for very long. So I think I'm going to plant some corn in this bed as well and let those sprout and germinate and grow. in this garden bed. I've got some beans, some bush beans, just a couple, not really a whole lot, but I do have a couple more that I need to plant, and I'll probably put them in this bed as well. Anyway, after watering last night, and then coming out this morning, that squash plant was just like on that trellis and covering the cucamelons, so it was just really wonky looking, so I had to put a new stake up, and I went ahead and tied them all up to stakes, so they'll be growing straight. This little plant here is not really doing that great. It's still itty bitty, and I'm thinking that I'll probably pull that out and create some space for the corn that I need to plant here. Anyway, this is garden tour week 7, and not a whole lot different than week 6. Everything's still pretty much the same, growing, but still the same. It's only been a few days, so been a week. Next week, week 8, I will update you with the Green Stalk, and you'll be able to see what I decided to plant in the other 2 tiers of the Green Stalk. So that'll be next week, and yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed week 7 garden tour. My pretty wind chime. I haven't decorated the garden yet this year. Jackson, stop barking. So I lied. I'm going to show you the garden stock. After all, I just finished watering and doing everything I'm going to do to the garden this week. All the lights are on. One of them didn't come on now. 2 of them didn't. Maybe it's not dark enough yet. Anyway, everything's been watered, and I went ahead and transplanted the little tomatoes into those pots, and I took the ones that were in those pots out, and I put them both in here because they are a miniature variety, so they should both be fine in that pot. I just went ahead and watered the green stalk and filled the other 2 layers. This is one of them. This is one of the layers right on top here. I've got some parsley, and these are all little, that one looks like that just fell there. Okay. Marigolds. I think that little thingy is a basil, which is here. And more marigolds. I took them all out of the pot, the garden bed that was right over there, where they were getting too much shade, not really growing. So I just put them all in here so that they can grow. And then marigold, poppies, basil, Swiss chard, and then that's going to be the very top. I didn't put them on yet because, as you can see, the base is not really a base. It's I'm going to have to disassemble this whole thing and reassemble it once I get it, I need to have a base built for it, a little platform right here that's level, because it's going to topple over if I put all 6 levels on. Anyway, so that's the green stalk. I'm glad that I got everything transplanted. Jackson, if you don't stop barking. Everybody's been watered. And then I just want to show you really quickly over here that this is a variety called the Pinocchio. It's very small and has a really thick stem, and it's very sturdy. And so this is the type, the variety that should be growing in a pot like that, in a kitchen window, a warm kitchen window, not anything too cold or drafty, otherwise it won't do well. But anyway, so that's going to be a gift for a family member, either Gabriel or, I think I'm going to give the Pinocchio to my brother's family, just because he has kids. Anyway, isn't that pot super cute? And then I had another tomato that I just transplanted and put into this pot right here. It's a question mark tomato. I lost the tag to it, so I don't know what variety that is. And then here's the mini bell in this pot right here. This is the mini bell. And sorry, it's so dark. Anyway, I transplanted them, and hopefully they'll do well, and then in the next couple of weeks fruit will be setting and I can take them over to their forever homes. I just love this tree. Look at this. Look at the leaves. So dainty. So dainty. Very feather-like. Alright, time to take those doggies in. I just love my wind chimes. I have another one in the backyard. Here's some more. It's a little bell. It's a grasshopper. And this one, I think, is a ladybug. Oops. Well, that didn't quite work out the way I thought it was going to. Sorry, nasturtium. It's all, oops, my bad. Okay, anyway, that one's a ladybug. And I do have some other garden decorations around. This one here is blue. What is that? Butterfly, I guess. And then this one here is a ladybug. And then here's another wind chime. Alright, just wanted to check in and give you that little update. See what the temperature is. 80. Alright. Still pretty warm. Alright. Well, week 7 garden tour officially closing out. Hope you enjoyed. See you next week.